Gina, and I'm going to be talking you through writing and placing Google Ads with Google AdWords today. The first thing that you will need to do is log into Google AdWords, and if you click through on create your first campaign, then you'll be led to a page like this. If you already have an account, then you can just go to your campaigns tab and click on the red plus campaign button. But more than likely, if you're watching this, then you haven't done any yet, and there'll just be quite an obvious button saying create your first campaign. So the first thing that you're going to do here is enter a campaign name. So this will be something to do with what your ad is going to be about. So for example, if I were placing an ad that was aimed at sending people to a website or a page or a guide to do with stopping a cat from scratching, then I might put stop cat scratching as my campaign name. It's not super important. It's mostly just that you get something that's easy to remember, that kind of tells you about what you're doing with this campaign, so that you'll be able to easily find it later on. And then you can select the type of ad that you want to do. Standard is just selected here. If you hover your mouse over the question mark, it'll give you a little bit more detail there. But also if you click on learn more about campaign types, then Google will take you through to here. And if you scroll down, there's a really helpful chart here which can tell you about the different types of networks that you can target with your ads. If you're fairly new though, standard is fine to go ahead with. Once again, you can select whether you want to include search partners, so other websites than Google itself that works with Google AdWords and Display Network, and you can read more about those in that chart there. You can also select different devices. All devices will be eligible by default, but if for any particular reason you want to target your ads specifically to mobile audience or PC or desktop audience, that's another thing that you can edit there. Then you can select which locations you would like to target. I am personally from New Zealand, so that's why it has this selected here, but you can also say let me choose. We would advise against all countries and territories, because you're not always going to get the most bang for buck out of some locations in the world, particularly non-English speaking, for example, if you have an English ad, but also just some countries. You want to think about the profitability of advertising to them. Like, you might get a lot of clicks in countries such as, just for example, India, but you won't necessarily get a conversion, because differing socioeconomic factors such as lower disposable income or lack of access to credit cards will cause some regions to have a lower conversion per visitor ratio. So that's just something that you might want to think about. We would recommend that you do the United States, but also the UK, United Kingdom. You can add New Zealand is another good one, and Australia, another good English-speaking country to target with your ad, unless of course your ad is specifically a different language. So any English-speaking countries where you can get a good reach of people with credit cards and disposable income that you could potentially target, these ones are all fine examples. So selecting specific countries can be just a bit of a smarter way to tackle this than just selecting all countries and territories. So it says now, based on my target locations, that I might want to target English and French, but I'm quite happy just leaving it as English. This will just make sure that my ads are only displayed on English sites. So because my ad is going to be in English, I don't want it showing up in a location where people might not even be able to speak the language. Then you'll go down to your bid strategy. So this is how much you're going to pay. You can add, once again, these little question marks will give you a bit more information about each point, so you can figure out what is the best option for you personally. But the default bid, that's what will apply to the first ad group in the campaign, so you're going to create that next. So your budget each day can be $10, it can be $20. You can experiment with how much you want to pay per day, depending on how much you have to put into this campaign, how much money you have to play with, what kind of results you're expecting to see from the ad. A good starting budget is $25 to $50 per day. You can always increase the budget later when you start to earn money. Now you also have the option to manually set your bids for clicks, or you can simply just select AdWords will set my bids to help maximize clicks with target budget, and then set your budget for the day. This is a very simple way of doing it, and if you're particularly new or you just don't want to be bothered setting your clicks yourself, this is a perfectly fine option. Google does its best to optimize your bidding to use your budget to maximum effect, but it does mean that they will be almost guaranteed to max out your budget each day. So you should assume that whatever you set as your budget when you use this option, that is what you're going to be spending. It's a little bit less flexibility for spending a bit less than you would get if you were setting it yourself, but it is also quite a good option. So that's something you might want to consider. And the last thing is ad extensions. This is just if you want to add a location or another link on your website or a phone number to your ad. So not sure if any of those things will be important to you. Once again, just hover over the question marks if you are concerned or would like to know more information. For now, I'm just going to leave that as is and click Save and Continue. And then you can name this ad group. So I'm just going to put cat scratch number 1, and then it's time to create your first ad. So your ad is made up of a few parts. The first part is the headline, and which you can see in the example here. Then the description, which is these parts here, line 1 and 2, and the display URL, which is that one there. You can also select whether the ad sends people to your landing page, so your final URL, which will end up being destination URL, which will be this one here, or final URL is one that you will enter specifically. Is recommended because if you were sending people to a squeeze page or a review page or just something that was meant to convert rather than just the general page of your website. The front page of your website is not usually your best page for conversion. It might be. I'm just saying that you'll usually be sending people to a specific page, which you will enter in there. So some tips for a well-written Google ad are always include your main keyword in both the title and the description. This is because when somebody searches for that keyword phrase, the matching words in your ad will appear in bold, which makes it even easier for people to see that the ad is really relevant to what they're looking for. So for example, if my keyword was stop cat scratching, then I would put stop cat scratching. As you can see, it shows up here, so it's going to show me what my ad looks like, which is pretty neat. It also tells me that I've only got 5 characters left, so if I were to keep writing, it would tell me how many I've gone over, and I know that that's not going to show up properly in my ad. So the best way to do it is just to stick to the numbers that they have given. Let's say I had a website called catscratchnomore.com or something random like that, and that will show up in there as well. And then once again, I want to use my keyword in my description. So I might have want to stop your cat from your cat scratching. Great guide for pet owners here now. Or here. Obviously, you'll want to make this compelling. You want to make this stand out. You want people to read your ad, thinking about what your keyword is and what they might be searching for when they see your ad. So, for example, if they were searching for stop cat scratching, you want them to look at this and go, "This is what I'm looking for. This is going to help me to really stop my cat from scratching. I'm excited about this. I'm going to click through. This is what I want." Yes. You have to make your ad enticing. You have to make them think that. So that is one of the trickiest parts of creating an ad, is just writing the ad. Once again, you can try different things and then just see how they go and assess, little tweaks that you make to your ad, what gets more clicks, what gets more conversions, and you can track all of that stuff later on. But for now, you're just going to be entering your first ad. So the display URL that you have here can differ from your final URL. You just need to make sure that the first part is the same. So if this was the display URL, this part has to be the same, but then you can add review of cat scratch guide, for example. Let's say that was the URL for a review that I had that was meant to convert people to buying a guide to stop their cat from scratching. So because this first part here is the same as this part here, the rest of this is fine, and the ad will direct people to this link. Once you've entered your ad, you can just scroll down, and it's time to select your keywords. Okay, so to begin with, you'll need a list of 1 to 10 similar keywords and keyword phrases that will do fine. We don't recommend that you go over 10 keywords in your first campaign. For ad quality reasons, it's very important that all the keywords within an ad group are very similar. To demonstrate exactly how similar they should be, here is an example list of keywords for a stop cat scratching keyword group. So I'm just going to paste some into here. Stop cat scratching, stop cats scratching, stop cat scratching furniture, carpet, door, sofa, rugs, stop cats from scratching. Basically, it's the same sort of thing, but just adding different endings to those words. The variations are very slight. In fact, if you intended to use the phrase stop cat spraying, we would suggest setting up a separate ad group. That's how precisely targeted your keywords need to be. By the same token, each ad in an ad group can target different keywords, so this means that you can then supply a custom specific targeted landing page for each set of keywords. By having a customized ad and landing page for each set of keywords, you can improve both your click-through and conversion rates. Additionally, Google will see your landing page as more relevant, so you'll get a lower minimum cost per click. So here you can go save and continue to billing, and then it will send you to account setup. So you'll go through all of the billing and payment options, fill in your details, whether it's just you or whether you have a business, enter it all in, and then go complete sign up, and you will have completed your sign up and you'll have completed your ad. After that, you'll be able to review the metrics on your ad group's performance. So basically, in this lesson, we've looked at how to go about writing and placing a Google ad, and in short, the steps are: set a campaign name, set the locations and languages you want to target, set the networks and devices you want to target, set your bidding type and budget, design your ad, set your keywords, and then put it through. It's quite simple, and it just takes a bit of trial and error to figure out the best ads for your website to get the best results. Thank you for listening, and I will catch you next.